So coming off the previous chapter, we saw Tatsumaki fighting Saitama near the Hero Association, and it turns out that her main concern at the moment is whether or not Fubuki or Saitama have like romantic feelings for each other, I guess, because she's like, there's no way I can entrust Fubuki to someone like you. And that actually takes us into the beginning of this chapter. Entrust Fubuki to Saitama, in the same way that like a father would entrust his daughter to someone for marriage or whatever. And obviously there's no one that Tatsumaki could entrust, or there's no one that would meet her requirements, even if she has any. I guess it would be Blast if there is one single person, but I guess that is problematic because of like, first of all, the age, but also the possibility that Blast is related to Tatsumaki and Fubuki. I mean, there's no hard evidence on that yet, but I think there is like a good possibility for it. But anyway, it just comes back to the, in my opinion at least, also good possibility of Saitama and Fubuki having some kind of romantic connection in the series eventually, if it hasn't already been being set up already. But at the moment at least, Saitama hasn't expressed any interest in Fubuki, whether internally or externally. But Tatsumaki continues to like blast Saitama away, and we cut back to Fubuki with the Blizzard group, like back at the Hero Association, and she remembers what Tatsumaki said to the Blizzard group. I don't know, pseudo kill them or something, but she said, if none of you will cut ties, then I'll cut them for you. And then Fubuki said, now that she's gone and said that, there's no way Big Sis will back down. So it's like, yeah, it's got to the point of where it's become life-threatening. Because like I said, when Tatsumaki said that to the Blizzard group, she said that she was gonna like push them to like within an inch of their life, or push them to the edge of death, or something like that, to scare them into running away, or or whatever. So yeah, Tatsumaki really becoming unhinged over this. I mean, she's always been, especially with Fubuki, but now it's gotten so bad to the point of where Fubuki like straight up needs to leave them herself, because after this she's like, the Fubuki group is hereby disbanded, and she even goes as far as saying like, you're all too weak, you're completely useless. And of course she says that in an attempt to make them angry with her, as a way to like soften the blow, but she obviously doesn't mean it. Like I said, she's trying to save them from Tatsumaki, who is just way too powerful and just has way too strong of mental health issues at the moment for anything to really be done at the moment, at least with what they have. Aside from, I don't know, asking Saitama to solve all their problems, and even he can't do that, as we've seen. But she flies away, and I'm curious to see how long this is going to last. Like, the Fubuki group doesn't really strike me as like a group that's just going to take no for an answer, especially in a situation like this. But anyway, we cut away from this, and we come to a very odd sequence that is very one, I'll say. But not like in an awesome way, more like in a experimental way, I guess. And this sequence is definitely meant to be played for comedic purposes, but it also just runs on a little too long, especially for the length of this chapter. But it is what it is. I guess it's just continuing the trend of following the webcomic closely, because this sequence is also from the webcomic, along with most of what we've been going over these last couple chapters, which is a lot more than the manga has been doing these last couple years. So this original sequence is like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old, something like that. But we follow the A-class hero Feather, who I think we were first introduced to, at least in the manga's continuity, in like chapter 94, or I think it's 92 in the Viz, the chapter where we see the support team battle on the surface while the strike team is raiding the Monster Association. And it turns out that he's got himself into some trouble here, trying to protect this woman who he assumes is being kidnapped or being held as a hostage with the quote-unquote strongest gang in the city. But it turns out, no, that she wasn't actually a hostage, and she betrayed Feather for the boss, who has an A-class bounty on him. But she also has like conflicted feelings for Feather here, and she kind of regrets what she did. And as soon as Feather's about to go full power, now that he doesn't have to worry about her since he knows that she's not a hostage, Saitama and Tatsumaki bust through the wall and knock him out. And it's like, yeah, that whole sequence just played up so that Saitama could bust through the wall and knock him out. And that is funny, but it also makes me wonder, is there any more to this sequence? Like, is this possibly a retelling of something that has already happened in the history of this series? Because I personally noticed one do this at least twice in the series. Or it's just not that, and it's just a comedic sequence. But Saitama winds up taking out the leader with a single punch. And like I said, he had an A-class bounty on him, and unfortunately we never really go too much into that. And I don't know if like the A-class bounty lines up directly with the significance of like an A-class hero, because there are also S-class bounties. Like Sonic has an S-class bounty, and pretty sure he would be an S-class hero if he joined the Hero Association, right? So maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I'd like to see more S-class bounties out there because they're in theory like evil S-class heroes, right? But anyway, the rest of the gang gets taken out as well, and Feather just decides to go home and forget that it happened, which is probably for the best. But then after this, we cut to H City, and it turns out that a massive monster is attacking it by the name of the Kenzan Rat. And this is like one of the biggest monsters we've ever seen in the series. Like, this thing is crazy. And of course, it's dragon level. Like, this is one of the new dragons. We haven't seen a new dragon in a while. Or at least I feel like we haven't. But also, like I said, this is originally from the webcomic, so he's technically old in that continuity, but in the manga, he's brand new. And like the only hero that's nearby and available is Metal Bat for some reason. And we see Metal Bat running to where it is. And it makes you wonder, like, can Metal Bat take this thing down? And he has fought dragons by himself before, but he never, like, I don't know, finished a dragon, I guess. Or from what I can remember, I don't think he has, at least by himself. But I'm sure Metal Bat has somehow gotten stronger since the Monster Association War, because why not? And it's like, I think that he could have probably taken this thing. I mean, it wouldn't have been easy, obviously. Like, he would have maybe had to high diff this thing if he was continually fighting it by himself, but he definitely would have gotten the job done. But of course, it doesn't matter because Saitama and Tatsumaki wind up flying through this thing as well, taking it out in the process and destroying a couple buildings. And it's like, I wonder if the fight with Metal Bat would have caused just as much damage anyway. But then Tatsumaki continues to fly with Saitama, throwing him through buildings and stuff. And Saitama's like, I told you to stop destroying everything. Why do you think we came outside in the first place? And that's where the chapter ends. And this is going to continue for a little bit more, I think. Like, we've got 2 or 3 more chapters before something significant happens, or we just come to an end of the Saitama and Tatsumaki, like, flying, fighting thing that's going on at the moment. I mean, don't get me wrong, we do have some really exciting moments happening. It kind of just seems like the manga is stalling at this point. And I don't know, I won't say that it's necessarily stalling because it is going somewhere. It knows exactly where it's going, but it's just comfortably taking its time to get there, which is personally fine with me, of course. But then again, I am a hardcore and I really love this series. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. I mean, I'm personally looking forward to, a big sequence. I'll say that it's definitely going to happen at the end of this, at least in my opinion, and it's going to be something new to the manga that will be replacing the original sequence that happens at the end of the webcomic, at like the climax of whatever's going to transpire between Saitama and Tatsumaki here. So I'm looking forward to that, but let me know what you're looking forward to and how you think things are going to play out. And if you like the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. But let me know what you're looking forward to and how you think things are going to play out. And if you like the